Hey everyone, how's it going? Thank you guys for joining me for another video. And today I have the promised top items in my collection that are either rare or unusual or perhaps not had by another collector in their collection. So, without further ado, today I'm going to be displaying my items right here on this new item right here, which is a nice U.S. Army trunk addressed to a Private Walter Marlowe from Otter Lake, New York, which is up in the Adirondacks. So this is really cool. This is going to be in my new additions video. I also have his Tank Destroyer Ike jacket right back here, but that's going to be for later. Right now I'm going to use this space to display these said, if you want to call them rare, unique, or perhaps not had by other collectors. So right here we have a small piece. This is a paper piece. This is instructions to the Doughboy Prophylactic Kit. And you can see it's in a couple of different languages. Right here, steps 1 through 5. Guys, have fun reading this one. It's in good shape. It's got some crease lines. It's got a little bit of staining, but it had a couple of pieces of the original box. And I found this when I had bought a tote of stuff. This was folded up real small. Oops. And this was in the bottom of the tote. So it was a really cool surprise waiting for you at the end of the tunnel there. But yep, I'm going to say that this is pretty unique. I haven't seen too many of these around, and definitely an odd one to have. Up next, I got this garrison cap here for the American Legion. This is a World War I veteran who lived in Palm Springs, California. So you can see here. What's really special about this is it's named to a Sergeant John Parker Holditch, Company F, 364th Regiment of the 91st Infantry Division. Really cool. He was an adjutant and a past commander in 1936. And here you can see all of his ribbons. Some of them include the Croix de Guerre, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, Silver Star, World War I Victory Medal with 5 battle stars, and a few others that names elude me at the moment. But this is one of my favorite pieces because it is just absolutely stunning and eye-catching. Up next, I have this really nice frame of a piece of P-51D Mustang aircraft aluminum. Right here, it's about a 1.5 by 3 inch piece. It's got some rivet holes in it and some scratches. But this is named. It has a story behind it. You can read it right here. This is from the Little Dock and was shot down in Belgium, I believe it was. Yep, and it was recovered in 2006. So this is authenticated. So this one's a really cool piece of aviation history. This one's really cool. It's kind of a double. This is a 20mm bullet, Mark II, 1943. You can see right there. What's special about this, though, is that the round comes out, and it is a trench art lighter. Check this out. Doesn't have any flint in it, but it does still have the wick, and the wheel still spins. So your flint would go right in this little space right here. And then if you unscrew the fuse cap, right inside there is your wool. So you fill that full of lighter fluid, and then screw this back on. And then once you had your flint in there, there you go. And this is pretty heavy. It's probably heavier than a Zippo. So this is really cool though, because you can just bloop, pop it right in there, and there you go. Right here is a crown jewel in my collection. This is a beautiful 8x10 matted print of a Grumman F4F4 Wildcat, done with stippling. All these little dots is known as stippling. Signed by the author, or artist, sorry, Henderson Field, Guadalcanal, 1942. And this is signed by Jim Sweat, Jeff DeBlanc. You can see it's faded, but that is Joe Foss. and this is Bob Gaylor. You can see all 4 of them wrote down their Marine Fighter Squadron, and all of them flew on Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands in 1942. All 4 of these were Medal of Honor recipients, and all 4 of them were also flying aces. So be sure to check out their backstories. They all have interviews here on YouTube. Very awesome. And while I'm on an autograph rant, here I have a really special one. This is a first edition cover. This is the anniversary of the sinking of the Bismarck. And this is signed by 2 survivors out of 3 survivors of the HMS Hood. That would be Signalman 10 Briggs, and I forget his title. This is Bob Tilburn, though. Right here, it's got some information cards and whatnot. But 2 out of 3 survivors out of 1,418, I think, and 2 of them autographed on the same envelope. So this is also one of my crown jewels. This one's a neat one, and this is kind of a double hobby as well. If you're a big Star Wars nerd like I am, you would almost immediately recognize this. This, used in the Star Wars universe, is the scope for the Stormtroopers E11 blaster. George Lucas used a multitude of World War I and World War II surplus weapons to modify and whatnot for the Star Wars movies. And these, which is an M38 Sherman tank scope. This one is dated 1943. But these were used as the scopes on blasters instead of scopes for tanks. So pretty neat, kind of a double collector item. Hey, look at that, another autograph. This one is signed by Gunter Rahl, who was the 2nd or 3rd most successful fighter pilot in aviation history. There's his signature right there. He has an amazing story. He flew with the Luftwaffe, was credited with like 200 plus kills at the end of the war. I think he bailed out like 9 times or something like that, was shot down a multitude of times as well, got his thumb shot off in midair combat, and parachuted a whole bunch of times too. So he has an amazing story as well, and it is awesome to have his autograph in my autograph collection. Up next, got my World War I trench knife. This one was made by American Cutlery Company. As you can see here on the inside of the handle, AC Co. USA 1917. This is a beautiful example of the, I believe this was the earlier model, triangular blade, which I believe was 9 inches long. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Nice wooden handle here, in decent shape. It's got a couple of dings over here. And these flanges here are known as dragon's teeth, and what they are is just pieces of the guard here that was cut in a wavy fashion and just folded over the handle to give you a set of knuckle dusters here. So imagine getting hit with this. This is solid, probably a good 1/4 inch, 3/8 thick steel right here. So getting hit with any end of this, because also this features a skull crusher pommel here on the end, which is also solid, just a steel bump. So either the pointy end with the almost irreversible puncture wound with the triangular shape, or these 10 pieces of metal right here, blunted, or the bottom end right here, which is just a metal stud. So light, efficient, perfect for puncture wounds and close quarter combat. So this is an amazing piece of history. And here we'll bring out my bayonet. This one here originally was a World War I German butcher bayonet. There's the maker mark and number stamp here. This was cut down at some point post-war. This is the scabbard. I believe this is a Turkish Mauser scabbard. I'm not entirely sure. The interesting thing, I know a multitude of countries after the war had purchased all of these from different manufacturing companies and cut them down for their own armies. I know Turkey had done some. Germany did some during World War II. There was a bunch of others. You can see there's a piece missing from the handle right here, but it's kind of cool because it gives you like a little x-ray into what the inside looks like, the inside tang. Stamp 1917 here on the spine. Card is a little bit wiggly, and the release button still works smoothly. Interesting thing about this one, though, is as much as this one looks Turkish, this one does not fit on a Turkish Mauser. Does fit on a German Mauser, however, which leads me to believe that this was chopped down by someone in the German army, perhaps, or someone using a German Mauser. So, pretty cool. A piece of recycled military equipment. And next up for blades, right here, I have this World War I officer's sword. This is a jawless lion head version. There's a couple of versions with lion head sabers. This is a parade saber. This belonged to a World War I German artillery officer. Right here, you got some beautiful design here on the handle. Some of these lions also came with rubies in their eye sockets as well. Got the iron cross here, and there you have your artillery cannons crossed with flags. Very nice piece. And also featured right here, you have initials EB engraved here. And on this side you have two swords and two lances with flags crossed. Very neat. And if we open this one up, you can see that it has a beautiful finish to it, and it also has an etching here in the blade. In honor we trust, I forget is what this means. This was the Bavarian motto, I believe. Right here, and then on my tag, I know it says this belonged to somebody in an Ulan regiment. That's what it was. You can see the maker in here is WKC, which you can kind of see right here. You got the knight's head right there on the side of the blade. WKC is the maker of that. So this is a beautiful display piece. And also on the topic of swords and blades, this is my Type 98 Shingunto Japanese officer's sword. You can see right here it's got wood on the base around here, and either shark or manta ray skin is this white bumpy stuff right here. Here you have the chrysanthemums. That is the makugi, which is the little wooden dowel that keeps the handle in place. I haven't removed it yet. I'm too scared to see who the maker is. You have like these cherry blossoms around the handguard and on the underside. And like a little heart there on the bottom, little heart there. So really beautiful detail in these. And you can see again the wood and the bamboo there in the handle. All the wrappings are still intact. Handle still, or the swivel here still moves. This is still tied off right there. Give you a look at the scabbard. It's got a couple of small dents, but some intricate details. More cherry blossoms there on the end. Flip it over. A couple more scratches. And then we can go ahead and open it up. Finish on this is still amazing. And you can see what is known as the hamon line on katanas. You can tell if these are handmade or not due to the squiggly little line you see. Almost looks like a heartbeat monitor right up here where my finger is. If you can see that wavy line, that's a hamon line. Now I gotta get the fingerprint off there. And that tells you that it was hand forged due to the folding of all the metal. So this is also a crown jewel in my collection. Up next, got a World War II M1 helmet. Front seam swivel bail, has a liner in it. Liner is dated 1951. This particular helmet is named Albert C. Seconti, 76th Division, 5th Rangers, C Company. There you go. There's the stamp was 88C, which would put it around March of 1942 for the manufacturer's date. This still has some camouflage paint on it, which is really cool. And this guy is a local veteran. I bought this from somebody who bought it directly from his estate sale, I believe it was. He also has about an hour-long interview. I forget the organization's name, but it has to do with World War II veterans and whatnot. And he goes on to tell his story about how he moved from Italy with his family before the Great Depression, and living through that, enlisting, going into the Rangers, fighting in France, and then eventually being captured by Germans. I think it was near Brest, France, if I'm remembering that correctly. But he saw action, was a POW, and actually transferred POW camps in secret when he blended in with a bunch of Italian POWs, because he too is Italian, and snuck away with them to a different camp. And a few days later, he was liberated by the Free French in one of the camps that he was at. I forget exactly which one, but so an amazing story and an amazing helmet. And this is one of my favorites. And up next, I have a World War II German helmet. This one in particular is an M40 Stahlhelm. And this one, excuse me, was dug up in an area in Russia known as Velikia Luki. You can look up that. There was a siege there. This was found at what is now a submerged airfield, but what used to be active. And this, I have the video of its recovery being pulled up from the ice. This is really interesting. It has a lot of tar. Look at all this tarmac on here on the top, which makes me think that this was sitting on it this way. But then if you look at the inside too, this is also covered in tar. So I don't know if this was used for maybe just scooping tar or something, because also this piece is in here, which is pretty peculiar. And this little ring that is attached into the air vents, but if these were here, then the liner wouldn't fit through here, so I don't think anybody was wearing this. So interesting. Maybe it was repurposed as a tool, scooping tool maybe for tar. I don't know. We may never know. It's got some cracks in it in the skirt here on the back. But just a really interesting piece with a backstory and a video, which I do have. So very cool to put an item to a place and put a video with that item. All right, this is a really special piece. This one is a firearm. Yes, it is still functionable. But But what's special about this is a Arasaka. This is not a Type 99. This is not a Type 38. This is a different variation. This right here is extremely long for a rifle. It's just about as long as my Mosin Nagant. This is a Type I Arasaka. Now, before World War II officially started and Japan was fighting China and whatnot over there in Asia, they had a contract with Italy, who at the time was their ally, and they had them manufacture a whole bunch of Arasakas. Now, the Arasaka was the standard battle rifle for Japan, and the Carcano was the standard battle rifle for Italy. So what this is kind of a child of the Carcano and the Arasaka. You won't see a chrysanthemum as you would on a normal Arasaka because these were made in Italy. You can tell if you have a Type I, the action is different. I believe this is a Carcano style action. But you will see this is the only serial number on here. These were made in batches. I think it was A through J was the first number or letter here, followed by your 4-digit serial number. So this one is H6904. It is in perfect condition. And you can tell that this is a true Arasaka because of the dovetail pin-in 2-piece wooden stock right here. So this line right here that goes across is not a crack. This is supposed to be here. So this is a 2-piece wooden stock held together by your steel butt plate as well as pegs that went in through here. If we also take a look at the sling, this is the original leather sling, and there is traditional Japanese scripture here. You can see it's a little worn off on that, but this up here is still somewhat legible. But an incredible piece in this was actually also owned by somebody relatively local. This was one of my old boss's grandfathers, who was a Marine in the Pacific, and he brought this back from the war. He said he had no use for it, said he didn't want to see it just go, so he offered it to me and said it would rather, he'd rather it be displayed, with respect and whatnot. Still fireable. It was either his grandfather or his grandfather's brother that brought this back. But there we go. Push the plate down, and there you go. So most of these, I guess, Type I Arasakas were found on Kwajalein Island. So not sure exactly where this one was found, but could be a good chance that it was found there. These were issued to Imperial Japanese landing forces. So this is a really cool piece. And another firearm that I own here, another surplus rifle. This one is a British Lee Enfield. This one is dated 1942. It is a number 4 Mark I Star Lee Enfield. You see the action still here. That goes back. And then this goes forward. The piece here is a little sticky, but if you push this forward, now you're locked in. Your magazine release is this little trigger right here in front of the trigger, which pops out your external box magazine. And it is loaded back in, front end first, slid up until you hear the click. And you have your anti-aircraft sights right here, adjusted by this little dial, which moves up the side right here. And then you have your regular sight ring right here. If you push this forward, you'll notice your firing pin stays in place. That means it's charged. It's ready to fire. Now, there's two ways of disabling that. You can pull the trigger forward, pull the trigger while you push this forward, the whole bolt, down. Now, that's disabled. The actual safety on this is a little lever here on the left side right here. If you pull this all the way back, you can hear that click. Now, the whole bolt system is stuck. Can't open this now. Trigger system is disabled too. So I can pull that, it won't fire, and now I can't, if this doesn't give it away, oh, it's stuck. Now I got to push this forward. Now you can feel it release, and it opens up your bolt system. So pretty cool. This is actually a U.S. contract. I believe Savage Arms made these ones. You can see U.S. property, number 4 Mark 1 star. And right here, there's your serial number, 1942. And there's your little flaming bomb. So that's pretty cool. And then right here, of course, you have your steel butt plate with compartment. If I can get it open, which I might not be able to. Right there for your cleaning rod and whatnot. It's a little stuck right now, but... Then you have your sight guards there, the little ears that pop up there, and your muzzle. So, really cool piece. I haven't shot this one yet. It is still in firing condition, and it does still have the original leather sling, so check that out. But this shoots 303 British, so maybe someday we'll have a firing range day once I can find some. Right here I got a couple of pictures. Both of these are of Adolf Hitler himself. Actual photos taken. This is in his Mercedes. I forget what exact style Mercedes it is, but his personal driver, I forget, his name is Otto something, but he was a officer in the SS. And right there you can see Hitler waving. And then right next to that, we have this picture here, which I believe was taken in the mid-30s, because he's wearing the same outfit that he had on in his, I think it was Stuttgart speech. Can't remember exactly which rally it was, but an interesting picture there. And on the back of this one, which is really cool, it says, "Do you know this devil? These people seem to know him well enough to have a snapshot of him in their album." So I'm wondering, this one looks like it was album removed as well. You can see the original stamp on the back. I'm wondering if this picture right here was taken from somebody's album in Germany, overseas, somewhere in Europe, by a GI, and then possibly mailed home. These people seem to know him well enough to have a snapshot of them in their album. So, I don't know where it came from, but I know it's an original picture, and it has some writing on the back of it, so kind of leaves the mind open to possibilities. Alright, so now I'm going to pick you up, and I'm going to move you over here because I don't like touching this thing too much. This right here, this came together as a set, so I am displaying it as a set, and I am counting it as one item. So right here we have a 1917 corrected English model, that's CEM, gas mask, Private Walter Larry Hudson from Hopewell, Virginia, is who this gas mask is named to. So really cool. The hose is broken off, but I still have it. And also that is the mouthpiece that goes inside of this thing, but the inside's pretty crumbly, as you can tell. So here's the original card, and right there at the top of this card it says Private W.L. Hudson, and under regiment it says 60th. If I flip this over, I did some research and found out he was in the 60th Artillery Regiment, Battery F in the 9th Infantry Division. So this is cool. It's named. I can trace it back. This is not his helmet, I don't think, but I don't think anybody was wearing this also when it was hit, from what I was told. But anyway, there's a lot of this thick sand camo here. You can see how raised up it is from what's left. An awesome impact point right here where it hit and then ricocheted upwards. So it must have come in at an angle this way to hit it and bounce right off. So what the helmet was intended to do, as you can see, it leaves quite the dent. And then right up here, you got 2 impact points that go straight through the liner strap and the liner. So it splits off 1 and 2 right here, leaving a huge dent in the top. And right there, it looks like also there was one that hit right here as well, because there's a little bump at the top. So it looks like it just barely skidded and then boink, bounced off right there. So I'm guessing that is what chipped off the sandy texture right there, because it has it mostly everywhere else. And I also have the gas mask filter, bullet down. Oh well. But this is really cool too. It also has this pocket, contains plastic, or what does that say? Plaster for repairing tears in the hood. It doesn't actually have the little piece in there, but right over here it's got hours worn, drill with actual gas, cloud gas, shell gas. Those aren't filled in, but that's okay. But this is one of my favorite pieces right here. It is just such an aesthetic piece to come in and see a full World War I setup. And also right here, I'm not going to move this one either too much. I get a lot of compliments on this one actually in a lot of videos that I've put up. A lot of people asking if it was for sale too, so I really do appreciate that. It isn't for sale, none of this stuff is, but I do appreciate the interest. This is a World War I. This is a Mark I Brody, if I remember correctly. 3rd Infantry Division, as you can see by the painted insignia here. Nice cork texture and paint. And this is also the matching canteen. This is 1918 dated canteen, and both of these are named to a Joseph Bates from Brockton, Massachusetts. And those numbers are stamped on the canteen, and that number is stamped on the cup. And then, if I can remember correctly, let's see what the maker of the helmet is. Oh no, this one is an M17 Doughboy. And ZA197 is the heat stamp for that. So, well, that's, I think, all I have for you guys. As far as interesting, well, not just interesting, I think everything is interesting in here, but rare, unique, maybe not so many well-seen items in a collection. But I hope to see some of your guys' videos on your collections and some interesting items that you have in there. So just to give you a little pan around, this is what we got going on right now. Got plenty more videos. I have a lot of organizing to do because this is very, very messy, but thank you guys for joining me in this video, and we'll see you in the next one.